Hello children, today I'm going to discuss with you the first midterm lesson and Inspector Calls, Act 1, page number 1 to 4. Before we start our lesson, if we talk about the background of the drama, this drama has written by J.B. Priestley. So we'll see who was J.B. Priestley and what do we need to know about him. So he was born in Burnley in the UK, closely linked to the fictional town of Bromley in the text. Priestley experienced both World War One and World War Two. Priestley served in World War One in 1911 to 1915, and he describes that these years set their impression upon me, meaning that he was extremely affected by them. He had an issue with the way that the poor officers were treated, and this view is reflected within his presentation of the behavior of the classes in an inspector calls. So we can see when we talk about J.B. Priestley, uh, he uh, he wrote an Inspector Calls drama with his personal experience which he had undergone in World War One. So not only that, he was known for political views and concerns about social inequality. Started up the Commonwealth Party, which encouraged a moral and collective approach to politics. So he had seen the social inequality. So due to that, he wanted to come to the political politics, but he was unsuccessful, and he was going on writing the problems which occurred in society uh, by using his skills. Now let's talk about the characters involved in Act 1, page number 1 to page number 4. So the characters are Mr. Burling, Arthur Burling, Mrs. Sybil Burling, Eric Burling, and there are some other characters which we will discuss later. So if we talk about Mr. Arthur Burling, he's a Priestley highlighted his character as a heavy-looking, rather pontious man in his middle fifties, but rather provincial in his speeches. So Pontentans means now he's trying to appear important and serious, but though he's trying to appear as important and serious, Priestley wanted to highlight that uh, though he thinks that he's an important person, ironically he's not. And also he highlighted this character as a very proud of his achievements, such as having been mayor. So he has an intention to uh, become as a superior in the society, whereas Mrs. Burling, Sybil Burling, her wife, uh, Priestley had given an introduction about her character as she is about a 50 rather cold woman and her husband's social superior. So why Priestley wanted to brings her character as a rather cold woman, children? Because now when you are reading the upcoming pages of the drama, you will notify and you will notice that she has a characteristic of cold hearted behavior, like now she cannot understand some others feelings, heartless. We are telling the people who cannot understand some others feelings and not accepting, not even welcoming them to tell about their grievances, we are calling them as heartless. So that's why Priestley wanted to highlight her character as a cold woman. And also, if we talk about Eric Berling, he's the son of Mr. and Mrs. Berling, and he's in his early 20s, not quite as not quite at ease, half shy, half assertive, embarrassed, and rather awkward, a heavy drinker. So feeling guilty about how he treated Eva. So you will, when you are reading upcoming pages, you will understand more about the characteristic of Eric Berling. They are the other characters which we are meeting at this scene. So Sheila Burling, she's the daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Burling. So Priestley highlights her character as a very pretty girl in her early 20s, very pleased with life and rather excited, perceptive, intelligent, and curious, quick to realize the truth about people, right? So now, though she's very pleased with life, because she does not have much experience in her life, not exposed to the society, so that's why she was very pleased with what she has and rather excited. She believes that the other characters who are involving to her life are very good and very trustworthy people. So that's why she did not have any unhappy mood, so she was really excited with the life, right? But at the from the middle of the drama, you will see how she is perceptive and intelligent and curious. If we talk about Gerald, Gerald Croft. He's an attractive chap about 30, rather too manly to be a dandy, but very much the easy, well-bred man about town. So here, the phrase "a man about town," here it highlights a fashionable man who is keen on social activities and entertainment. So he was very well born from an aristocratic family, son of Sir George and Lady Croft, and socially superior to the Burling family. Uh, so he's very he's if we talk about his family, he's coming from a very rich family. So and then we'll move on to the servant Edna. So you will see a picture of Edna, who is serving her service to Berling's family. Now we'll talk about stage directions. The use of stage directions is very clear in this play, possibly because Priestley wanted the message of this of his play to be very specifically communicated to the audience. Now, children, maybe I hope that I assume that you must have witnessed a stage drama. So, if you have witnessed, you were able to know what I'm talking about. So normally, for a stage drama, we are using many stage directions like such as lights, stage props, and uh, other things which will have on a drama. So that is basically that is to give us some idea about what will happen in the drama, and how the characteristics of the each character, and how they will proceed. And likewise, it will give us a very good understanding of the drama. So the stage directions indicate a number of things about the Berlings. If we talk about how Priestley used these stage directions to indicate number of things about Berlings, first one is Priestley highlighted about the wealth. So how he highlighted the wealth, the descriptions of the room and the furniture, given the impression of a rich and privileged background. So we can see the scene is set in the dining room of a house that belongs to a fairly wealthy manufacturer. The house is described as nice, solid, with good furniture. So, the appearance and quality of the Berling's dining room suggests that they are family of wealth and class. And also the stage directions show us relationship between Mr. and Mrs. Burling. Mr. Burling is at the top of the table, reflecting the acceptable attitudes of the time, but also a potential emotional disconnect between these two characters. You can describe space as a metaphor for their separate relationship. Though they are uh, physically acting as wife and husband, they do not have very strong personal understanding of each other. And also change in the lighting. Pink and intimate becomes brighter and harder when the inspector calls. Pink rose the tinted glasses reference. The Berlings do not live in the real world and look at the things in their own way. So here it shows us Berlings are actually not uh, Berlings are the people who are not practical enough to understand what is happening in the society, and though they have understood, they are not willing to accept what they have done, their mistakes. The brighter and harder light could be the truth, and also could be seen to be um, innocent. Also behaves as a spotlight on the Berling's mistakes. Now we'll discuss the important points uh, which are in page 1 to page 4. The Burlings and Gerald Croft are enjoying a dinner to celebrate the engagement of Gerald to Sheila. So you can see a very beautiful picture how they are enjoying a dinner to celebrate the engagement of Gerald to Sheila, and also they are toasting. Um, so they are all, you can see in the picture, they all are dressed for a special occasion. So you can see a picture of a maid. So the image of the maid presents us about the Burlings are as a well-off family. Mr. and Mrs. Burling are described in terms of their status markers, their speech, their social positions, which indicates from the start the play is concerned with class and status. So Sheila, partly serious and partly light-hearted, reproaches Gerald for neglecting her last summer. Mrs. Burling, who says little, stresses that men like Gerald and Mr. Burling are committed to their businesses. So also, Priestley highlights the different ages of the character, the established older parents comfortable and proud of their position, while one of their child is more excited by life and the other uncomfortable. Mr. Burling opens the play by thanking Edna for the pot, and she has brought out the sideboard and offering it to the Gerald, with a promise that it is the same part that Gerald's father customarily uh, purchases. The fact that Mr. Burling knows the port to be the same port that Mr. Croft purchased suggests that the Burlings and the Crofts belongs to a similar social and economic circle, but also that Mr. Burling may aspire to be like Mr. Croft. So here Mr. Burling encourages his wife to drink, reminding her that it is a special occasion. In criticizing her husband for a rather harmless uh, remarks, Mrs. Burling betrays her concern for the family's conduct and social manners. Why? Because she clearly wants to make a good impression on Gerald's mind. So Sheila mentioned as an instance in which Gerald had seemingly ignored her summer before. So here Sheila is resistant to the gender roles typically of the period. The man busy with work and the woman left alone in the house, and is uncomfortable with her mother's suggestion that marriage will create this role division. Sheila's resistance, you can see Sheila's resistance suggests that she is more socially and progressive than her mother. Again, Priestley highlights us. Eric, who is slightly drunk, suddenly bursts out laughing to the annoyance of his parents and Sheila. So here, Priestley wanted to say Eric is acting very strangely for reasons that we do not yet know, but we will become clearer as the play progresses. The dynamic of nuclear family is fairly standard. Eric and Sheila tease each other in typical sibling manner, and their mother attempts to put an end to their quarrel. Mr. Burley makes a speech congratulating the engaged couple and expressing his pleasure at the match. He hopes their marriage will lead to a closer links and greater profits for the Burlings and Croft companies. So it becomes clear that Mr. Burling is excitable about his daughter's marriage, not only for her own happiness, but also for his own more self-interested business and social prospects. He is always looking to move further up in the world, and an alliance with the even more well off crofts will help him to do that. So this is a very this can be taken as a business marriage. So the family raise a toast to the couple, and to Sheila's delight, Gerald presents her with an engagement ring. So again, Mrs. Burling monitors her husband's contributions to the conversation in an attempt to keep him in line with the tone of the evening. So here, Priestley conveys us Sheila's pleasure with the engagement ring because it's the Gerald wants her to have suggests she is not as progressive as she thinks. She likes it because she likes it. He likes it. She likes it because he likes it. So here it proves that uh, her characteristic that she is very pleased with life and rather excited. Okay, children, now if we talk about why is this section important, we can see it has given a very good introduction about the five of the main characters and establishes the relationship between them. So, who are the main characters? Mr. and Mrs. Burling, Sheila Burling, Eric Burling, uh, and Gerald Croft. It demonstrates the wealth and social position of the Burling and Croft family. And also it hints at Mr. Burling's attitudes to life and marriage. So as I explained you uh, in my earlier slides, it tells us and it hints us at Mr. Burling's attitude to life and also marriage. Here I prepared you some questions based on Act 1, page number 1 to 4. Again, you go through what I have discussed with you and try to find out the relevant answers to these questions. Thank you very much, children. Hope you got a very good understanding about Act 1, page number 1 to 4.